Well, we're live.
Okay, I'm gonna go to YouTube, grab the link real quick.
Real professional. Landlord drunk is or landlord drunk. Landlord Matt is drunk. It's
Hey, that's the only landlord Matt I know.
That's true. That's the only landlord Matt I've ever met on this podcast. But we're doing it. So yeah, you tweet the stuff out. I'll retweet it.
Yeah,
I'll do the
I'm
thing.
posting now.
Okay. Where's the tweet?
I'm posting it. Chill out.
Hurry up.
Posted.
Man.
God.
That took a while. You were pretty slow.
Yeah, because I wasn't just posting the link. I was putting a message with it.
Oh, okay. Good. My dog's here too. He can participate.
It's okay. Nobody joins our podcast anyway.
Oh, self burn. That's fine. We don't need them. But no, seriously, we do need you. So if you listen to this after the fact and you hear our shenanigans, we like you. We like.
We just want you to be on live with us and
we would
interact
love
in the
some
comments.
live participation. It definitely makes the show seem more natural when there's a little bit of a back and forth between the audience and ourselves. Yeah, maybe we should open one of those question hotlines. I think there's places we can do that for free. Anyways, that's off the air talk.
Yeah. So week 9, feeling fine. I guess that's what you labeled this. So
this is week 9, feeling fine, baby.
You know, it feels better than being a Chiefs fan right now. I'll tell you that much.
I don't know what's going on with that team, man. And I want them to be good now because we beat them. And I don't want them to be just another trashy team that this team has beaten because I'm so sick of hearing, well, who have the Bills beaten? Who have the Bills beaten? Well, here's the deal. The NFL does not give bonus trophies for having the hardest schedule at the end of the year. There's only one thing we're going after, and it's a Lombardi trophy. I don't care how we get there. I just care that we get there.
And you heard it last night. We get the Lombardi trophy. Josh Allen's jumping off the bus onto a table.
I don't know if I want that. I mean, that just seems like a terrible idea.
It would be funny.
It would be funny until he damages something, and then
hey, if he's drunk enough, he'll be fine. I saw Waldo at the Bills tailgate jump off of a big truck, and he popped up like nothing ever happened.
It's funny
if you're listening, Waldo. It was hilarious, and we saw you.
Waldo. I just saw Waldo in the Miami game. He was at
I saw him too.
I don't know if it's the same Waldo, but I gotta assume.
I've got to assume it's the same guy, and he's broken probably at this point 8 tables this year. Wow, crazy. But I'm sorry. I gotta apologize. I couldn't contain myself, so I was at. Okay, what's it like living in KC being a Bills fan? Thanks for the question, Chris. Randy walked away and can't put it up on the screen. He'll put it up when he gets back. But I'd say it's been kind of weird. For us, it's sharing a Bills backer bar with the Chiefs makes it kind of weird. This season it's been great because we've been kind of putting up some points and we've been seeing Patrick Mahomes throw interceptions. But this week it was kind of quiet with the Chiefs playing Monday. It's definitely weird. And it kind of was going to bring something up regarding being in Kansas City. So I actually work in St. Joe, which is the home of Chiefs training camp. And I went in there when I found out Derrick Henry was hurt and potentially out for the season. I was like, oh, did you guys see Derrick Henry's hurt? And one of the guys who's a Bears fan goes, yeah, the Chiefs fans over here are really excited. And I couldn't contain myself. I said, well, why don't you worry about winning your division first? And everyone just stared at me like, this guy's a dick. But it's true. I mean, I wouldn't worry about the Titans yet if I was the Chiefs when you could barely beat the Giants last night and Danny Dimes was throwing dimes. This is what he does.
Well, that was the total opposite thing of what I was going to bring up. But Yeah. Oh, cool. You've got a friend who played for Mo West football. Nice facility up there. Is that Maryville? Is that Mo West?
Mo West is in St. Joe.
Okay.
And oh, you went to Mizzou. I'm actually from Macon, just about an hour north of Columbia. So I had quite a few friends go to Mizzou as well.
But I don't know. Besides like living out here, um, yeah, I agree. Injuries should not be celebrated. I
Yeah.
actually, okay, let's go back to 3 weeks ago when the Bills played the Chiefs. I was upset with some Chiefs fans who were around me at the end of the game. They were booing. I forget who went down on the field, but they felt
Oh, it
like
was Taron Johnson
he
with
was
his
faking
hamstring.
it and he was cramping up. I mean, they booed him, and I was like, that's real classy, Kansas City. But oh, cool. Live up in the Twin Cities, Minnesota. I was there for the Vikings game in 2017.
Yeah, and I definitely would say injuries shouldn't be celebrated. I mean, you always want to beat the team at their best, especially as Bills fans. You know, we always get that, well, we haven't beat anybody narrative that Randy was talking about earlier. And when you beat a team without their best player, it kind of brings up that you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. If you don't beat them, it's because you suck. And if you do beat them, it's because that player was out. So you'd rather beat a team full strength.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still say I'll take the victory however it comes, but I'm not going to cheer for injuries. But it definitely, first thing you think of when you see the Derrick Henry thing is, wow, that really opens this race back up. Not that the race was closed. The Bills still had a valid chance at getting the number one seed, but that injury really, really, really opens the doors.
Even though I want to talk Bills, I do want to bring up, your thoughts. I mean, you've seen Ryan Tannehill without Derrick Henry when he was in Miami. Granted, he had Adam Gase, and that guy, as we've talked about before, I mean, he's a blessing to the Bills franchise. He delayed the Jets. He's delayed the Dolphins. I mean, they've had to rebuild because of him, which has allowed the Bills to be very successful because of that. But what do you think Tannehill is going to be able to do with all that weight on his shoulders without having Derrick Henry to feed him the ball? I mean, he's going to have, it sounds like Adrian Peterson might be coming in there. But he's 34 years old, something like that. I mean, not
Yeah, I mean,
exactly in his prime.
I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with you here. Ryan Tannehill's a good quarterback. He had Adam Gase as his head coach, and that was the problem. Adam Gase has proven over and over again that he is a terrible, terrible coach. And I wish the Dolphins had extended him to like a lifetime contract, but it just never happened.
It's okay. I'd be glad if he went and coached the Patriots when Bill Belichick retires. Go ahead and mess them up for a few years. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's necessarily a bad quarterback, but he definitely benefits from the run game from Derrick Henry. But who wouldn't? That guy is probably at this point, if he can stay healthy, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, he's always in the MVP race the last few years. He consistently is able to just run over guys in the fourth quarter. Honestly, he is the most valuable player on that team. And to have him hurt definitely does not help Tannehill whatsoever.
No, overall, not psyched about that. But that's kind of a side story to the NFL this week. Other side stories, just of note, today was the trade deadline. The Bills didn't make any moves, not a single move, which you can kind of do when you're in the position the Bills are in. We're a contender already. We have the roster set. I would have liked to have seen a move. Yes, I know you're about to say it.
Well, more of what I was going to say is we see with what the Rams did and bringing in Von Miller, which could be at this point where he's injury prone, but they were still kind of in that all in phase. And, we're in that window right now. And there are a few pieces that I think we're struggling with. First being interior offensive line. That is a huge struggle. I would have loved to see a guard get traded to the Bills. The other is cornerback. Levi Wallace seems to be a liability at times, and we were saying that quite a bit during that game. But yeah, definitely like Chris said, I wish we would have gone after a guard. There was talks that we were going to trade Trubisky to Washington, and there was rumors that we were trading for their guard, which would have been great. I just feel like Feliciano is not doing what we've kind of paid him to do. And then with Spencer Brown being hurt, it just shows how you have to move everything around. Darrell Williams back to tackle Ike Botger. And now we're putting Cody Ford back in the lineup. You almost have to. It really limits what you can do and sets you up for failure if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see some interior offensive line. Cody Ford is clearly not the answer yet, and isn't really developing the way they thought he would.
Yeah, and what do you think it shows to him from McDermott when the chance is there and, they had to shift Darrell Williams out, and instead of putting him in as starting guard, they put Ike Bacher. What does that show you?
It's a message, and McDermott is all about his messages. He's never going to call a player out to the media. He'll never call a player out like that, but I think it's a message. Levi gets picked on all game, every week, makes good plays, but sometimes gets blasted pretty bad. Yeah, and the thing is, like, to your secondary, back to that point and what Chris is saying, the cornerbacks, whoever's opposite Trey White is going to get targeted a lot. So even if they're a decent quarterback, they're going to get picked on. And I don't know that Levi Wallace is all that bad. I think he does get scapegoated. I think regardless of who you put in there, unless, you get, if we somehow got like Xavier and Howard, which would be ridiculous, but like to have two stud cornerbacks and lock that down, that's the only way you're not going to get picked on. And
and when you got Trey White, the opposite side, I would throw at Levi Wallace if I was quarterback as well. Why even risk throwing at Trey White?
Right.
And,
Trey White.
And as we've seen, Levi Wallace tends to struggle when there's athletic, quick wide receivers. And we saw that pretty bad this week with Parker. Parker seems to have the Bills' number every time we play him.
He does. And so did, but you got to look at the other, on the same token of that, is we held Gesicki to like nothing. And Gesicki tore us up in the past. Now that was with Ryan Fitzpatrick. But that's something to look at and consider going into the next couple of seasons here.
We had some things fall our way. I think Gesicki definitely got flustered. He had some stupid penalties get called, and then he like ran across, and there was a snap that hit him like right in the side, which turned out to be a perfect turnover for the Bills. And then, of course, the clutch turnover at the end of the game, the interception, Jordan Poyer. Wow. You want to talk about a guy that the Bills brought in, Brandon Beane. Wow. Him and Hyde were both guys that we hit on that teams just let walk. And, we were paying Poyer pennies on the dollar until recently when we extended him. It's just crazy.
Yeah, and Poyer read that play like a book. If you look at how the Dolphins were playing the whole game, just as Tua Tagovailoa has always done, he doesn't complete passes over 10 yards very often. And so Jordan Poyer basically read that play and said, "You're not going to throw the deep ball." He's like, "I don't believe you," and just jumped the route, and that was an easy pick. But to Chris's point, Levi does get picked on. A.J. Brown picked on him in Tennessee. That was a big reason we lost.
He got big boy.
You got to factor in, though, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, and Derrick Henry. Someone's going to be open. Poyer and Hyde are, they're something else.
Yeah, it's great. And this defense as a whole, it's exciting. They pretty much played lights out against the Dolphins, which allowed the Bills offense to really find an identity. They had to reestablish themselves in the second half and find that identity that they need to do, which is the short passes that leads Allen to get in a rhythm. Allen is that type of quarterback that you see him, he wants to get in a rhythm. He's got to hit early. And that's why you see him throw it deep a lot. And if he hits on that first deep throw, it seems like it's over. At that point, if you're the other team, might as well get on the bus because Allen is on. But the same thing works with those short passes to Beasley, and they almost work like a running game because 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard, it's pulling everybody in to try to stop Beasley. And it's awesome to see Beasley being involved in that game, which opened it up for guys like Diggs and Gabe Davis in the second half.
So I want to talk about something because Chris just brought up the Jags, and I thought it was a funny tweet. Apparently no one got the joke except for a few people.
I understood it. It's okay.
So, Zach, are you aware of the Manning curse?
Yes, I am.
So the Manning curse is the theory that every player who's gone on the Manning cast has lost the following week. I submit to you that the Manning curse can still maintain truth next week with the Jags. Josh Allen can still lose, and the Bills can win.
Yeah, Josh Allen for the Jags.
If you're spinning your head there, yeah, Josh Allen, the linebacker for the Jags. So therefore, that is a massive loophole in the system that I suggest we take advantage of.
Plus, did you get to actually watch that last night with him on there on the show? He kind of, or on the game, not show. It seemed like a show. I didn't really like it because I couldn't really, they weren't talking about the game per se. But Allen he was funny enough being there with Peyton and Eli, but he let them be the star of the show and run their thing. He wasn't bringing up topics. He was just kind of being interviewed. But he is one of us. When I found out he drank all of the beer, and they ended up having to go out and pick up more beer because Allen and some of the other guys had drank all the beer at this party. It was hilarious.
That is a very Buffalo thing. I mean, we drank L's out of Labatt Blue last week, so that's a possibility. That's kind of what Bills fans do.
And yeah, Chris, you're right. They didn't give him too much content. They just there's points where he was kind of sitting there awkwardly, like you're saying it was awkward watching him. He really didn't know what to say because Peyton and Eli kind of just had their inside jokes going. But it was still cool seeing just him on there, and I was glad to see him not give away anything about the Bills as far as what we're doing or things of that nature. But I think he's trained from McDermott not to say anything. But one thing I did learn, and I went out and watched, and I highly recommend it to anybody listening, is Eli's Places. It's on Hulu. If you've got like ESPN Plus, you can go on there. It's awesome. It's talking about the history of football and how it started with college football. No, it was great. They talked about it last night, and I had to turn it on.
Awesome. That's the synopsis.
It's great. Did you know that at Rutgers University was where college football was invented? I didn't know that until today. So,
I didn't know that. I never knew that. So
yeah, Eli taught me more than Peyton ever will. And we want to talk about something. Peyton's son loves Josh Allen more than he loves his dad. And that is great.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty amazing. It's pretty crazy to think that because Peyton Manning was always like my gold standard quarterback growing up, just because I hated Tom Brady, so it wasn't going to be Tom Brady. So Manning was always the gold standard. And to hear him say that my son loves Allen more than me, I'm like,
yeah, but you got to think of it this way. If your dad's sitting here saying, "Oh, I was great back in my day," you're just like, "Okay, Dad. Yeah, okay." Yeah.
Whatever,
sure you
Grandpa,
were.
Go back to bed.
and he doesn't probably sit there and watch the games, of course, because how easy is it to turn on old games? And he probably doesn't want to sit there and watch old game film with his dad. I mean, you saw Peyton last night when what's his name came on the show. Strahan came on there and he showed him throwing a touchdown over him. Peyton's just gonna gloat. So I wouldn't want to sit there and watch football with him either. So I think he sits there and watches Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's just exciting for this generation. You look at these kids, they're going to watch a guy who's hurdling over guys. Yes, he could be injured, but he's fun to watch. I mean, he just brings out the best in football.
Speaking of people, I just lost my thought. It's gone. Zach, you ruined it. I had the thought right there, and it's been taken away.
I'm sorry. It'll be back.
Right. Henry Ruggs.
So Jack.
Yes.
Oh, Henry Ruggs. Yes.
Yeah. Thank God we did not get that train wreck of a situation. I hope that. Obviously, I know that somebody already lost their life, so that's unfortunate. So yeah, hopefully justice can get done and they can find the situation out and make sure everyone pays their due diligence there. But
yeah, it's a messed up. It's a messed up situation, But quite a few people have gotten behind the wheel that probably shouldn't have and have gotten away with it. And this goes to show, don't do that. It's not safe to drink and drive. You can always call an Uber. It's better to do that than to go out and drive. And Henry Ruggs hadn't even got his first big paycheck. And, minimum they say is 2 years in prison, I believe, based on state law over there. So you're looking at at least 2 to 3 years before he plays football again, and he's going to potentially be out of shape. He's never going to get back in the NFL, and he's never going to get that paycheck.
I'd hate to say they're never going to let him play football again because I've seen the people they've
Michael Vick and yeah.
But I would hope that, I mean, Ray Rice was in the league, so I guess I can't say him better. I'm sorry, he was acquitted. I don't know the legal standing of that. All I know is OJ was in Buffalo this past weekend to find the real killer, I presume.
If the glove did not fit, you must acquit.
What do you think about OJ showing up to Bill Stadium? Is it good form, bad form? I know that the Bills did not officially invite him. At least that's the word on the street. He just kind of
that's
ticket.
It would be bad publicity for the Bills to do that, but props to OJ. I mean, he was a Buffalo Bill, and that's, I mean, if he wouldn't have committed murder, he would have been known for being the best running back in Bills history. And, we can even still say that, but you kind of get booed if you bring that up. But he was very talented, and I think, it's fun for him to come and see the Bills winning, but we see he also seems to be a little bit of a closet Chiefs fan as well. So get off our bus, because you were rooting for the Chiefs all last year, and now look at them. We don't need that curse.
That is true. The OJ curse, although he was rooting for him the year they won the Super Bowl too. So I don't know if I'll take it or leave it. I'm not a big OJ guy. I prefer apple juice. But I like what he did. 2,000 yards in 14 games is insane. I mean, it's insane to think that he did that in 14 games.
What did you think last night of Patrick Mahomes?
He looks human. Like he
looks mediocre. He looks he looks just another guy.
He looks like 2017 Josh Allen.
He looks like Chad Henne's backup.
Jeez. We're really throwing it on here. Hopefully this doesn't come back to bite us.
Marquez Stevenson, I think he was still on the IR last time I knew. He's eligible to come off the IR, but they haven't taken him off there yet, I don't believe.
Wait a minute. Is this secretly Sports Rock 2 just trying to get in on Marquez Stevenson love? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you've got a good point there, Chris. I mean, we saw the McKenzie muffed punt, and, I'd really kind of like to see something different with punt returning. I'd like to see McKenzie go back to being used as he's done in years past with the end around. Randy loves it. That's like his favorite play.
Is my favorite play.
The McKenzie sweep. Yeah.
Cordell Patterson, holy cow. That guy, is he not like 130 years old?
Didn't we sign him to the Bills like a couple years ago or something, and he never made it to the active roster?
You're thinking of the other Jets player we signed there from the Rex Ryan era. I forget what his returner name was. The one who laid down in the end zone.
Oh,
do you remember that play? Oh God, who was it?
Yeah, I remember it. I can't think of his name. Did you also see the guy retire during during the middle of the game this week?
No.
There was a player that retired.
Another one? Devontae
Yes.
Davis?
Hold on, I'm going to tell you who it was. I had it.
It was Cordell Patterson, wasn't it?
You got to be kidding me. I Google it and it comes up with
Devontae Davis.
Devontae Davis. This is terrible. This is supposed to eliminate him from being in the headlines. Well, I'm not going to figure it out, but there was a player that retired at halftime.
Zach's full of it. That's a Zach lie. You can all call him out on Twitter at Zach Base.
There's just all these things that keep getting shown that other things happen, like Derrick Henry stiff arm last year, completely stiff armed Norman 20 yards down the field. And that play didn't actually really happen because it was called back because of a flag, and it's still talked about. And then the Cardinals lose on the last minute heartbreaker this year, and we still want to talk about the Hail Murray. I'm just
I mean, to be fair, the Josh Allen leaping over L'Jarius Sneed is going to be a highlight for the next year too, for the next season.
Yeah, I mean, Allen he has that will to win, and I think it really gets the other guys pumped up.
Speaking of the will to win, let's talk about this upcoming game. Does
Yeah,
anything scare you about the Jaguars besides the fact
desperate.
that they're desperate? I was going to say, do you think desperation will lead to Buffalo coming out flat again?
I wouldn't say that, but I think the big thing that we look at here is the Bills are the hunted now. I mean, teams want to beat the Bills. They want to play their best football against us, which comes with the territory of being a good team. And I think, with everything going on down there in Jacksonville, they want to play maybe not for their coach, but they want to play for themselves. If anything, it's embarrassing losing, and we saw it with the Dolphins this week. I think they're going to come out hungry, and the Bills just need to come out wanting to win more. I mean, the better team is going to win, obviously, and that should be the Bills as long as our team shows up.
Yeah, I think there's something that I think is pretty important with this upcoming game is I think it was actually good that the Bills didn't come out fast for the Dolphins, and they kind of get to learn from that because I think hopefully they go into this game going, hey, I know that people say this is a bad football team. I know the media is going to be talking that we're going to roll this team, but we don't roll this team until we roll this team. So let's get out there and kick their butt.
Yeah.
I still hold a grudge.
We were a couple plays. We were a couple plays away from being down 10-3 in that Dolphins game at halftime. I mean, there was a few plays that could have happened a different way, and it would have been 10-3, and we would have been losing. We need to show up and play.
More importantly, Zach, do you know what this game represents? It represents the possibility to complete the sweep of Florida. This is the year we have the opportunity to beat every team that plays in Florida.
We got to beat Tampa Bay too.
Listen, we're gonna do it. It's Buffalo
I think we can.
Florida.
And I agree with Chris here. Just play their style. I mean, I'm sick of seeing us try to do cute things. I mean, we seen it with the Chiefs last night, trying to do a little bit too much, and it causes errors. It causes mistakes, turnovers, and was it cute to see Cole Beasley throw a dime to the end zone? Yes, but we were close to getting that intercepted as well. Just let Josh Allen, the guy we pay to throw the football. Allen can do it so well.
So that being said, you don't fear this at all, other than their desperation.
Their defense can be scary a little bit, but that's just.
Do you have an unhealthy hate of the Jaguars? Like, I feel like I have this, they're not quite up to Patriots level or Dolphins level, but I really don't like the Jaguars. I don't know if it's their fans on Twitter, but
what fans?
Almost like a Titans. Hey, almost like a Titans vibe. I think because of that playoff game in 2017, because they still reference that, and I'm like, you guys realize that none of us cared. That was the first playoff game in 20 years. We were just glad to be there.
But I can't be mad at them in that case, because when we can't even score a touchdown in a playoff game, we don't deserve to be there. We snuck our way into the playoffs. We were not supposed to be there that year. It was a rebuild year. I mean, I was just happy to be there. And yeah, I'm saying that in hindsight. Yes, I cried after that loss. I cried uncontrollably. As anybody listening that knows me will definitely call me out for that. But in hindsight, I look at that and say that was a game that we just shouldn't have been there. So no, I don't think I have a hate for the Jags for that. But what I will say is, this game has the potential to just. I'm not going to use the word trap game, but it's a game where you expect the Bills to come out and score a lot of points and steamroll them. And anything less than that is going to be disappointment. I mean, if we barely win, it's disappointment. If we lose, bigger disappointment. Yeah. So,
but I do think the Bills' mentality is what Josh Allen said, where they're not coming out trying to be the best team in the league every week. They're just trying to be the best team on that field every week. I think McDermott has this team disciplined to a point where they're not going to come out flat this time. I think they were pissed off, frankly, against the Dolphins. That's why they took it out on them at the end, right? Any current players I hate outside of obviously Brady and Gronk? Well, living in Kansas City, I wouldn't say I hate Mahomes, but I'm taking great pleasure in seeing him suffer. not a hate. It's not a hate level of him yet, though. He's just he's more of an annoyance. Let's see. Is there anyone you hate? Zach?
I don't think I hate Brady anymore. Just because I don't have to deal with him, I can kind of appreciate talent. I can appreciate his talent and just know that's why we lost for so many years, because we were playing against such a great quarterback. But as far as hate, there's some guys on the Dolphins roster. One of them, Van Ginkel, that guy was just being dirty, throwing punches in that game and not getting caught. Seems like there's starting to be a little bit of that rivalry back with that Bills Dolphins, and we saw it with Josh Allen. Bye.
Is it a rivalry though if we just beat them every year for 3 years? Because that doesn't seem like a rivalry.
Hey, you're excluding the one loss that Josh Allen had against him in his rookie year when he had Kelvin Benjamin at wide receiver and Zay Jones.
Kelly.
Yeah, I know. I saw him say that, and I was like, who do we even have on the roster?
I do have one that I hate, and he was on the Dolphins, and that's the reason I hate him.
You're probably right, Chris. Yeah, the hate will probably be back when we play him. You're right.
Jarvis Landry. Hate him. Jarvis Landry is not my cup of tea.
That's the one I was thinking of.
Primarily because he cut AJ Williams or Aaron Williams' career short, and I really liked Aaron Williams as a player. So never been a fan of Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, and he was with Miami, and there's that rivalry. Okay, so Bills Jags. So opened at 14.5, Bills favorite. You taking that bet or no? It's a little bit of a...
honestly, the way they played last week, I would say no, but they still covered last week. I didn't think they were going to cover. I actually thought it was a Vegas cover-up. Hey, Up the Gut, welcome. Up the Gut was actually at the bar as well on Sunday. So
those guys are awesome.
Tuesdays. They're great. Check them out. You've met 14. So the question is, you take 14.5. So you're taking the over, I'm assuming then. And
the point total is set at 49.
I'm going to take under. I think this game is going to be a gut punch again. I don't think we're going to lose, but I do think we're in for another back and forth. Maybe it's not 3-3 at halftime. Maybe it's like 10-3. But I don't think we're going to be comfortable in this game until the fourth quarter again.
Josh Allen came out and said they're not trying to be the best team in the NFL every week. They're trying to be the best team on the field. And I think that just comes to kind of playing down to your opponent a little bit, but maybe trying not to show too much or do too much. I mean, if you don't have to throw for 350 yards to beat a team, I guess don't force it, but at the same point, you got to do what you need to do to win. And I really hated seeing the balls force feed the run and over again.
The Bills.
The Bills. Yeah, I knew I said that. That's fine. I said it. I was going to ignore it and move on. But yeah, I hate to see them run the ball consistently, knowing that it's not going to work. And then they were running it to the right side, which had Spencer Brown out. We were restructuring everything, moving things around, and I just can't understand that.
Do you think with the given the talent gap that the Dolphins and Bills have, do you think Dable and Leslie Frazier used that game as a little bit of a, hey, let's see if we can keep some of our plays under wraps for another week, keep them off the film for another week?
No, I don't think they did that per se, because look what they did with Cole Beasley. If they really wanted to save a play, they could have saved that Cole Beasley pass for a better opponent. But I think they were maybe trying to practice at things that they need to be better at, which is running the football. And it seems like, yes, when you look at Moss and Singletary's yards per carry, it's not terrible, but they're not getting the yards when it matters, and they're not getting first downs on 3rd and 3. I mean, they're getting stuffed in the backfield. Guys are missing blocks. It makes it kind of hard. I mean, we've got to throw the ball in those situations. And then I feel like Allen puts everything on his shoulders so much. He almost has to.
This is not funny thing to talk about, but do you think Allen held the ball too long in the first half? I felt like we were yelling a lot for him to get rid of the ball, and he was just sitting back there and holding it and holding it.
Yeah, but I saw some replays from the game, and they pretty much had us covered up. They recovered our receivers very well in that first half, and I think that was why Allen was holding on the ball.
So I think this is a reference. Division games are always a toss-up, yeah. Division games are a toss-up, so, I mean, that is why we definitely want to win this Jaguars game, too. We also want to have as many tiebreakers as we can, and we don't have that many AFC games left on the schedule compared to Kansas City or even the Titans. I think the Titans have more AFC games left.
Yeah, and Up the Gut's right. I mean, look at how the Dolphins would always find a way to beat the Patriots, even with Adam Gase. It was like they would still somehow beat them, and we would just play close games but still lose. It seemed like, everyone was hunting for the Patriots, their division winner year after year, and to us, beating the Patriots was like a Super Bowl win. I mean, it's kind of messed up, but that's really honestly what it felt like. Would you agree, Randy, that when we beat the Patriots during the drought, it felt like we were just like, we won the season. We beat the Patriots this year. Awesome.
Yes, our standards have definitely gone up. But yeah, that during the drought years, if you could beat the Patriots, that was, I mean, it only happened, I think, 2 or 3 times. It was very rare. And beating Brady was even more rare. That was like once or twice, maybe.
So right now we're, I think, a game and a half up on the Pats because they haven't had their bye week yet. It's tough. I look at that and I say that's a tough situation, but they have 2 more losses than us, and we play them twice. I don't think we have to worry about them unless something stupid happens and we lose games that we're supposed to win.
Yeah, but I think if we're talking number 1 seed, you've got to sweep the division again.
Oh, yeah, you absolutely. I almost think to win the division or to clinch the AFC and get the number 1 seed, I don't want to say you have to win out, but you should probably win out at this point.
I'd say the Tampa game would be the only one we can afford to lose if we want the number 1
well,
seed.
Yeah, because it's an NFC game, so that one is fine to lose, but you've got to beat the Jets. You got to beat the Patriots. I mean, clean sweep, it would be great.
So that being said, I don't know about you, but I got to get going at some point here. So I'm going to give you my Bills Jaguars prediction. Cool. Yeah, Chris, definitely tag us in that graphic on Twitter. I'll take a look at it. But Bills are going to win the game. Like I said, I think it's going to be closer than we think. I don't think they cover. I think they come out hotter than they did in the previous years. But my concern is we're going to make maybe one or 2 turnovers. That's what's going to keep this game close. What do you think, Zach?
Yeah. I think we win this game. I guess I don't. It's hard because everyone sat here and talked about how Trevor Lawrence was going to be amazing, but he can only do as much as his team is allowing him to do. And it seems like there's just a struggle. It seems like the offensive line is weak outside of what they've got a couple decent offensive linemen, one of which I was wanting us to trade for their guard. But other than that, they're pretty weak. I mean, he's running for his life. He's not used to losing. He didn't lose in college. And to come out there and lose, it's demoralizing for him. But at the same point, I think Poyer and Hyde are able, like I've said this week after week, when they play rookie quarterbacks, man, they really torture them because it's easy for them to disguise coverages and cause interceptions. And I'm looking forward to that. And I think the Bills, I don't think we're going to blow them out by any means, but I think we win by 13 points. I mean, we're not going to cover, but we're still going to win by 2 scores.
Well, definitely let us know in the comments what you think. If you're watching this after the fact, let us know. We'll take a look at those, and I will laugh at you when you're completely wrong. And I'm right because I'm always right. As we know, it is Randy Damas for a reason.
Yeah, and as Up the Gut said, Trevor Lawrence is going to have a rough day. And I kind of look for us to maybe use Rousseau, and maybe Rousseau can finally have a game that he had early, like against the Chiefs. Just
we can finally we can finally bust out the Greg Rousseau chant again at the bar. I've been waiting forever to bust that thing out.
Did you see that he got his helmet ripped off on the play last week, and
Yep. There was no call. Yeah, I saw.
That was stupid, but I mean, he's a beast, and we also saw another guy start to eat last week, and that's Ed Oliver. And I look for him to come up the middle and maybe make for a rough day for Trevor Lawrence, force him outside, and let Greg Rousseau eat up the sacks. Maybe Jerry Hughes have another sack in this game as well. So
excellent. Well, thanks for stopping by, everyone. And you got anything else before we go?
Nope. Just check us out next week. We'll be here same time.
Same bad time, same bad station. And as always, go Bills.
Go Bills.